Want to find out how to sell your home for top dollar in 2021?
We'll tell you all about it in this video. Hey there, I'm Hal Cohn.
And I'm Chris Cohn. We're with Cohn Realty Group.
This happens to be your first time, or even your 10th time, or maybe 100th time to our channel, and you have not clicked that subscribe button. Please do that now, as well as the little bell notification icon, so that you're gonna hear about every single time we release a new video about living, working, and playing in the amazing Roanoke Valley.
It is pretty incredible, and we have folks constantly contacting us saying that they want to move to or within Roanoke, Salem, Botetourt, and surrounding areas. So if that's you, your friends, or your family, please give us a call, send us a text, or email us. You can use whatever method you choose, and we'd love to have a conversation with you.
So get to it now. All right, so we are super honored and blessed that we just got done with a closing on a property for some of our clients.
So exciting. I love closing days. It just feels good.
Yeah, we got beautiful weather today for it.
Yes.
We're here at our closing company that takes amazing care of our clients from the time we get you under contract to the time you actually sign your paperwork, whether you're selling or buying in the end.
Yes. And so coming off of that closing day, we always take a chance just to think back through the process with these clients. And when you back it all up, we were thinking, way back. We were thinking about that first initial consultation. And what do we always hear from sellers when we sit down across the table? When we ask them what their goal is, they say,
normally it is, how do I make the most money when I sell my house?
Right. So they want to know how to maximize that profit. And it doesn't just come from happenstance. This is a strategic plan that you need to work on with your realtor. And today we just wanted to give you 7 tips to help you understand some of those ways to improve your house, get it ready for those buyers, and just make an excellent first impression and maximize those prices.
So make sure you stay tuned to the very end so you don't miss out on number 7. So the very first thing you want to do is you're going to want to take care of any type of maintenance issues that you're aware of in your house or around the exterior of your house as soon as you can.
Yeah, deferred maintenance that you may have overlooked or just don't think about anymore or see anymore because you've lived in it so long. These things are critical to change, update, and fix so that the buyer comes in and they don't perceive anything is majorly wrong with the house. Also, when the buyer sees something small like some grout that needs to be fixed or replaced or a leaky faucet or even clogged up gutters, guess what? In their mind, that's a big ticket item. Where if you got a contractor, it might cost $100 or $2.
Right, so you want to definitely have your house looking its best as far as its best foot forward when it comes to these deferred maintenance, like holes in walls, like any cracked plaster, those types of things. They're simple to take care of well before a buyer ever comes in, and you're gonna reap the rewards from that because what you're paying now is gonna be way less than what the buyer perceives in their head when they're coming through your property. And we want the perception to be great so that you can maximize your profit.
Yeah, and here's another little bonus tip.
All right, I like bonus tips.
What we've done in the past with our personal homes before we list it is we go through on a ladder and take a picture from up above. It sounds really crazy, but when you actually see those pictures from a different vantage point, you pick up on so many things that you may have missed. So that's a great way to see what needs to be updated, changed, or fixed before you put your house on the market.
So we all have a lot of items in our house that we love. Knickknacks, photos, things we've accumulated over time. And so what do we need to do, or what do you need to do whenever it's time to list your house and maximize your profit? It's gonna be declutter.
We made a mess.
None of us are immune to it. We all accumulate. So the last time that we actually sold our house, man, it felt good to purge and donate and all that. And it took some time to do it. So we were thankful we had a plan in place so we could take the time to do it. And however, I think now we have collected more stuff in our new place.
I know, we need to declutter again. We could try to pretend like our house is going to go on the market.
Yes.
And maybe that would help us declutter.
Right. Yeah.
This is one of the top 3 things that we tell every single client when we have that initial consultation. Like you said, things just kind of naturally build up over time. But it is super important that you purge and make things look spacious. Again, it's about perception. A cluttered house versus a decluttered house is going to give the buyer a completely different feel. As you know, when you look and walk into homes, it has a certain feel to it, right?
Yep.
Well, a decluttered home makes you feel like the rooms are more open, that the house has been taken care of better, and it just feels better.
Yeah, and so you could go and look at a house, same size, same floor plan. It's got lots of furniture, lots of stuff, lots of clutter. And then you go just down the road, see the same exact house, same exact size. And you go in, it's decluttered, it's opened up. And you're like, man, this house feels so much larger. It's actually not, but it feels that way. And we want the buyer, you want the buyer to feel like, hey, this is open. I've got plenty of space.
Space, the final frontier.
That the whole family, all of our friends can just hang out and we can enjoy this new home.
Right, and I know it's hard, but guess what? You're not getting rid of everything. The things that are really special to you, put it in a box. Go ahead and put it in your attic or your basement, wherever you have room, garage, I don't know, your friend's garage.
That's right.
And make sure that's one of the first boxes that you open up in your new home.
So the next tip we want to give you is make sure it's light, bright, and airy.
I can see clearly now.
Absolutely. You know, when I walk into a dark home, I just want to curl up on the couch and stay there and get comfy. But when I walk into a bright, natural lit home, it feels energizing and wonderful. So again, we're appealing to people's emotions. These buyers want to walk in and feel energized and excited to tour the home, not scared about what's going to be in the next room.
I like that. Not scared about what's going to be in the next room. Hey, what's lurking around that dark corner?
I am Dracula.
Good, jump out.
So in order for you to make sure that your house is light, bright, and airy, you've got to actually go around when you take those pictures and you're looking at the property and say, okay, if I've got dark curtains, let's get some light curtains in there.
Or no curtains
Or no
at all.
curtains, right.
It depends,
It just kind of depends. And then secondly, make sure when people are actually touring it, if possible, make sure there's at least one light on in every single room so that whenever they come through, they feel the lightness and the brightness. And then there's a couple other things. Carpet. If you got like really dark carpet, it just like feels dark, then maybe consider lightening that up, putting a new carpet in that's lighter. Or worst case scenario, you throw a rug over it that's light so you cover up that dark carpet. And then last but not least, where you get some of the most bang for your buck, in my personal opinion, is some sweat equity by changing up the paint color on the walls if they're dark.
I believe, every day's a good day when you paint.
Yes, huge. I mean, we talked about decluttering and painting. These are probably your 2 biggest heavy hitters to totally transform a home. Paint can just make it look phenomenal. And so you want to make sure you consult with your realtor, your professional realtor, on some of those paint suggestions, because you don't want to go in with a bright orange that you love and someone else may not love. So you want to stay pretty neutral. And I wonder what the color of the year
Pro
is.
tip for 2021, the Pantone color of the year that you're going to want to use is going to be Ultimate Gray. Pantone 2021 color of the year, Ultimate Gray. So that's where you're going to go for your paint color when you're changing the walls out.
Not just gray, but ultimate gray.
That's right.
I love
Absolutely.
that. And let's talk about when buyers are actually touring your house. It's actively on the market. Like you said, make sure you have a light on in every room, but you want to open up all the window blinds, all the curtains too. So make sure it's light, bright, and airy.
The next thing you need to consider is ask yourself objectively this question: when was the last time my home was updated? And where are you going to really get the most bang for your buck when it comes to updates? What rooms are those?
Oh, I know.
Yay.
Kitchens and bathrooms. We hear this all the time.
The kitchen of tomorrow is calling me. My cake is ready.
The kitchen needs to be updated and the bathrooms need to look nice. So that is where you're going to get the most return on your investment. But we highly advise that you consult with your professional realtor before making any of those major projects.
Yeah, you don't want to do any of those major projects without talking to a professional realtor first, because there's certain things that you can do to actually not spend a ton of money and still have them be updated and modern. It's all about the modern feel and the modern touches. So you can change out hardware on your cabinets in the kitchen. I mean, you can get a great return there, because if you've got like something that's old and like from the 70s, you put something modern on there, they're not gonna feel like, oh, these cabinets are 30 years old and I'm gonna have to replace them whenever I move in, which means they're gonna be seeing $sign to update them. But there are things you can do, like painting the cabinets, that we're gonna help you tremendously.
Yeah, even backsplash, light fixtures, these little things that don't cost a lot of money may just be what you need to brighten the whole place up without a complete overhaul.
Yeah, and one of the things that we did when we sold a house a few years ago, our personal residence, was we actually had our stagers come in. We looked at like, what can we sell this house for in its current state? What could we sell this house for if we actually do a couple of updates to the kitchen? And the cost and the returns showed us that we needed to actually change out the countertops. We put granite counters in, and we did a surround backsplash around the whole counter in the actual kitchen. And we got the return on that investment, like probably twice what we put into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's funny, after we did that, we were like, why didn't we do this sooner? The house had finally come together in a beautiful way. So when we were actually ready to sell, we actually wanted to buy it again. But we had other goals and it worked out great. But those buyers were wowed by the upgrades. And that was something that wasn't available in all the houses they had seen.
Yeah, that's right. And don't forget also, I mean, think about your flooring. Like, what kind of flooring do you have out there? That type of thing. Is it like old and outdated? Is the carpet shag carpet from the 70s?
Shags do require some extra care, frequent vacuuming, and they should be raked about once a week to keep their fluffy look.
You're probably going to want to consider strongly replacing those.
Yes.
Again, talk to a professional realtor that's going to help you from the time you start thinking about listing your house all the way to the time you actually list it.
Yeah, and there's little things too, not only the carpet, those big ticket items, but the little things that buyers are really gonna pick up on. Things like wall plate covers. Ours, in our house,
yeah.
we have some that are white, some that are almond. Luckily, we don't have any that are brass anymore, but there are some houses with those different wall plate covers, things like that. But just, it's the little details that make a big difference too.
Yeah, and that'll just scream, old, 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 and buyers will be like, run, run, run.
Run, Forrest, run!
And we don't want them doing that. We want them to run to your property and run to put an offer on it. Plugging along, we are on number 5 for you if you're keeping count, and make sure you stay to the very end so that you don't miss the last one that we have to share with you. And right now we're going to talk about one that is hugely, and I think all of them are huge, is going to be curb appeal.
Yes.
And why is that? Because that's going to be the first impression that people have of your property.
Absolutely. I mean, you've seen it before. You drive through a neighborhood and you see all these stunning houses, and then you come upon that house.
How would you like to live next door to this?
Has overgrown bushes and just a tired looking front porch, and it just makes you want to drive past it. As a matter of fact, we actually ask all of our clients that are looking to buy property to make sure they drive past the home first before we even set foot into the door, because you can tell a lot about a property based on the neighborhood, the exterior, the upkeep, and things like the driveway, the yard, things like that. But like you said, it is the first impression that buyers are going to get, and you need to wow them, because whatever they see on the outside, they're going to carry into the inside.
Yeah, and so let's put a psychological term to that, you know, because we like
so
history
smart.
and terminology, right? So with that, it's called confirmation bias. So let's say a buyer pulls up to your house, they're like,
You are so beautiful.
man, this is some magnificent landscaping, beautiful front, very appealing and inviting. And they're going to carry that thought inside, and they're going to keep seeing greatness about your house versus if they pull up and they like see overgrown shrubbery and mildew all over the place on your vinyl siding, they're going to carry those negative emotions inside the house too. And they're not going to see the greatness of it. They're going to see like, man, this house is not appealing to me at all. And it all started from the very front of your home. So how do you prevent that? And how do you make that a positive for you? You want to share a couple of tips?
Yeah, sure. And I think it's really interesting what you said, because even if they see a positive first impression when they pull up to the front of the house and then they go in, they're more likely to overlook some of those negative things. So
they're going to miss those.
Right.
Nothing to see here, please.
So some easy ways just to spruce up the front of your house is make sure all the bushes and trees and everything are well maintained. You want to throw out some fresh mulch. If you have an opportunity to put fresh flowers out, that's always an attractive feature too. Make sure walkways are clear and they don't have any trip hazards. And everything just looks tidy. Fresh paint on the fences, mailbox, whatever.
Doors especially, like the front door, if you haven't painted it in like 10 or 15 years and it looks kind of dull. If you have an old, tired welcome mat, put a new welcome mat out, because we want this to be very inviting and you want it to be very appealing to buyers. So their first glance is going to be like, man, I've got to be inside this house, and I just got to have this house because it looks so great on the outside. The next tip we have for you to make sure that you maximize and you get top dollar when you sell your house is probably one of the most difficult for every single seller that we come across, and that is going to be depersonalize your property, because you want the buyers to feel themselves living there and being there and not you, sadly.
That's right. You want to create that emotional connection. We've talked about that with the light and the first impression and just the cleanliness of your house. But this is really important because we want buyers to walk in and be able to envision themselves there. Really hard when you look at pictures of the whole family at the beach and the big burly dog, because I think, oh gosh, that one about pet stains and how they've marked up the floor and
or
things
kitty
like
cats.
That. Yes, but definitely depersonalize the space, and like you said, it's really tough. I love sharing the story about his mom when she moved. That was the hardest thing for her, and she held on to them until all of the pictures were up that were meaningful to her, until like the day before it went active.
The night before it was supposed to go active in the MLS. That's right. So she had a little box, like all of her packing material. So all these things could be wrapped up delicately and safely, put in a box. So as soon as she bought her new house, she was in her new place, and she could just pull them out, put them on the shelves, put them out, so she could have those memories and those personal items ready to roll ASAP once she got settled in a new place.
Definitely. And so you want to think about what's on the wall, what's on the steps, what's going to be hanging around those little picture frames, but also don't forget little things like your refrigerator. And so just take a once over and make sure that all those personalized things are down, and you'll enjoy them even more when you unpack them in your new house.
Yeah, that includes photos, knickknacks, all those things that are super personal to you. Get them out of the way, put them in storage somewhere, and then, like you said, just have a note on there on the box saying, open these up ASAP. I can't wait to see what's in there. It'll be like a Christmas surprise.
That's right.
This one here may be the most important step yet, and that's going to be make sure you find a professional realtor or team.
Yes, absolutely. There's a big difference between the two. We always say that there's over about 12 or 1,500 realtors here in the area of Roanoke Valley. But there's a big difference between professional realtors and also just kind of like realtors on the side. And we're going to talk through some of those things, but what we're talking about is making sure that you find someone that is seasoned and is a professional, has strong communication skills with you along the way.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Speaking of marketing, let's tell you a little bit about what we do on our team to help our clients maximize the return on their investment and maximize the return whenever they actually sell their house. So, we don't go in with our mobile phones and take pictures. What we do is we pay for, we invest in professional photography. So that gets taken care of by us before it ever gets listed. Then the second piece of the puzzle for us is a lot of our listings will do a professional cinematic story style video for them to make sure that we get lots of views on your property before people ever drive by it or before they even come into your house.
I love those too, if I can interrupt, because what we try to do is really, we work with a professional writer, and it's just amazing, but you can feel the energy of a house. Like writing about a house that's on the lake versus a house that was built in the 1950s are two completely different stories. And so we really want to make that an emotional draw and connection with our audience. And some of those videos have just been a lot of fun to shoot. And I think it represents the house and the sellers very well.
It does, and it gets a ton of use. What we'll do is we'll use that video as a marketing piece. So we'll do Facebook ads targeted to buyers in the area so we can get not only Zillow and Realtor and MLS views, but we can get, where is everybody nowadays? They are on social media trying to escape the day-to-day. So by getting in front of them with those videos, then they're able to actually make an emotional connection before they even get there to see your property in person.
Not only the photographs and the videos do they sell the property, but also we have professional stagers come in to every single listing and make sure that the house is going to be just wow the buyers that come in. And that's our expense. Again, we invest in your listing and we want to make sure it sells for top dollar. But I love seeing how a house transform after those stagers come in and after you've done your legwork with cleaning up that deferred maintenance and making sure everything's light and bright and airy. It just looks like a completely different house on that initial consultation all the way to listing day. It's a big difference.
Oh, and step 2 of that, whenever you're talking to a realtor and deciding upon your professional realtor, you're going to make sure that they are going to communicate with you consistently. The number one complaint, when you read the statistics from the National Association of Realtors, the number one complaint about realtors is they don't communicate with their clients.
I know, I can't believe it.
It's awful. So make sure you're not working or decide to work with a professional realtor that does not communicate. So what do we do for communication?
Our team loves to communicate with you even before the process starts. So if you're thinking about it at all, we just like to have that conversation and make sure it's a good fit for everybody. And then all the way post-closing, we like to stay in communication with you because guess what? We care. We have things like client events throughout the year and other times where we call just to find out how your family's doing.
Hello.
But during the process is when that communication is absolutely critical.
You stole my word. I was going to say critical.
Great minds think alike.
So that's critical. And because of that, we make sure that we schedule a weekly call with every one of our sellers so that we can update you on any showings, any contract negotiations, any inspections that are taking place, anything that's going on related to your property at that time. We're going to have that discussion. At the end of that conversation, guess what we're going to do? We're going to ask you, hey, you got any questions for us? And we'll answer those questions as well. So we'll update you. We'll also answer any questions to keep you on track and to also make sure it's as smooth as possible and you're going to be communicated with efficiently and to your specifications. And speaking of smooth, your realtor should make this as easy and smooth as possible. There's going to be some hiccups, but they should still make it as seamless as possible for you.
Yes, it's a lot. And this can be a very emotional process. There's a lot of steps, a lot of legalities, a lot of key dates and everything. And it's just hard for a family that's thinking about moving to think about all these other layers. So we do that for you. On our team, what we like to do is provide a courtesy. Things like we schedule all the showings so you don't have to. Can you imagine being inundated by calls?
No, especially in this market that we're in right now. I mean, you're getting like 30 calls and, so luckily for us, you've got me, you've got Judy, you've got Chris. We can all take those and we shelter you from taking all those calls, having to schedule them. We schedule them for you so that you are taken out of that stressful situation.
Yeah, and other things like just making sure you understand the next steps, what the contract reads, what it means. You'd be surprised how many realtors just breeze through the contract, and we want to make sure you understand every paragraph of the contract and walk you through it because we realize you don't do this every day and we're happy as your professional realtor to do so.